What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. In today's video, I want to go over combat changes that have come with the Age of War Chapter 2. Now this is currently on Testlive, so this is all subject to change, but I mentioned in a live stream and a video that I was unsure about what exactly was going on with combat. I felt like something was off. So I reached out to Dennis, had a conversation with him, and we've put it to rest as to what the combat change actually is. So there's a couple of things going on here. One of the things that they actually mentioned in the dev stream was that you were actually able to rotate your character a little bit before your attack actually hits. So you have a little bit of a better opportunity of hitting a target that may be off to your left or your right. So you're able to do that. You're able to rotate up into the point where your swing starts doing damage. Now this is going to vary for all the different weapons because all the different weapons have different timing for when they start doing damage. So you're going to have to play around with your own weapon, the thing that you really like to use. And maybe I would actually suggest something that I'm going to do here soon is to start playing with other weapons to see what they feel like. You may end up finding that you like the way a different weapon works after this patch. So play around with it, see what feels good. Now, for those of you that have been around for some time, you know that over about the last year, I've pretty much only used the katana. And I knew something was up with it, but I wasn't quite sure. I couldn't quite place my finger on what that was. And there's a couple of things. But the first thing that I want to comment about or tell you about is that the speed of the heavy attacks has changed. Now, I noticed that the speed has changed mainly in the combo where you do only heavy attacks. When you do a combo of only heavy attacks, the speed is much faster in the Testlive version of the game than it is in the live version of the game right now. So they've sped up all those attacks. You can complete them much faster than you could before. However, if you're doing a combo like I was doing where it was going light attack, then heavy attack and alternating until I was out of stamina, the amount of time that it takes to pull off that combo was actually the same amount of time as it is in live right now. So even though the heavy attacks have been sped up, when you use those in combination with light attacks, it seems to be about the same amount of time. But that's only for the katana. Only the heavy attacks were sped up. But I think your experience is going to be much like mine. You're going to get into the game and start engaging in some of these combat situations, and you're going to go, something just feels a little bit different. It's not exactly like it was before. What exactly is going on? Well, I'm going to tell you what exactly is going on, and there's an easy way that I was able to figure out to test it to show you what exactly it is. And it has to do with hyper armor. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with hyper armor, basically the term hyper armor means that you have the ability to attack through taking damage. So you wouldn't get interrupted while you were attacking with certain weapons. Not all weapons are the same. Not all weapons have the same amount or had the same amount of hyper armor. That's right, I said had, because many of those instances or most of that hyper armor is gone at this point in time. Now, this doesn't mean that you are going to be interrupted midway through your swing. If your attack is already doing damage, you are going to complete that attack without being stopped. However, if you are starting an attack or if you are finishing an attack where you might have had hyper armor before, you're going to find that you're going to be interrupted where before you were not interrupted. So with this new style of combat, you will need to rely on rolling out of the way of damage more often and planning your attacks a little bit better. The best way that I can explain going into combat now is to be the first to attack. As long as you're the first to attack, you have the upper hand against the enemy. Once you see their attack winding up or you think they're going to be able to do damage, something creeps up behind you and they're going to be able to hit you, it's best to roll out of the way. Because prior to this, even if something crept up behind you and you were doing a combo that allowed you to have that hyper armor, you could continue that combo even if something was hitting you in the back. However, now it's very regular that you will take damage from the back and it will interrupt your combo. Now, I've been around Conan Exiles for quite some time, and I feel like hyper armor was something that really wasn't understood. And it makes sense that it wasn't understood because you never have any indication of hyper armor. When do you have it? When does the enemy have it? How does the entire system work? So now that entire system is gone. But I've got an easy way to show you the difference between hyper armor and no hyper armor with the charge attack from the katana. In the live version of the game right now, the hyper armor allows you to actually hold the charge attack pose through taking some damage. There are some damages that will interrupt that hyper armor. However, there is no ability to have that hyper armor in the Testlive version of the game now. So every single attack actually interrupts your hyper armor or interrupts that charge attack. Now, this may not seem like a big change, but it actually is. It is going to change the way you engage in combat. Not only do you no longer have hyper armor, but the enemies no longer have hyper armor either. Couple that with the fact that you are able to rotate and NPCs are able to rotate a little bit with their attacks, changes the entire combat system of the game. So when you get this update, it is scheduled for September 21st, 2023. Take some time to play against lower level content than what you're used to and ramp yourself into higher level content. That way you can get a feel for the new combat system before jumping right into a situation where you've played a certain way and you've engaged in that combat a certain way for so long, and now that engagement is going to be a little bit different. And if you're not paying attention, you don't know what's going on, you could end up getting wrecked by something that you've never had a problem killing in the past. We're less than 100 subscribers away from 50,000. If you're one of those subscribers, thank you very much for being here. If you haven't decided to hit the subscribe button yet, I'd encourage you to jump on board and become one of the 50K subscribers and help me celebrate that accomplishment. Don't forget to whack the like button on your way out and let me know in the comments section below, what do you think of these combat changes? I'd like to thank all my YouTube members for your continued support. Y'all are absolute legends. If you'd like to become a legend, there's a button that says join on this page. Click that for details. There's 2 videos on the screen. Click one of those to watch next, and I'll meet you over there.